One of the lines from Rumi that I feel says it the best is this. He says, your path is not to seek for love, but merely to seek all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it. And this is really what we do as we begin to deepen our listening to our lives, is just notice, oh, okay, this is a barrier, this attitude, this way of relating to myself or others. There's a kind of beautiful metaphorical story that I share whenever I have an opportunity, because I find the image so powerful. And I recently found that I've been telling this story a little wrong. But in 1957, this is outside of Bangkok, a group of monks had to move the monastery that was there to another location because of a highway being built right outside of Bangkok. And so when the crane began to lift this giant Buddha that was, part of their temple, the weight was so tremendous it began to crack. Plus it was raining. So they lowered it back down to the ground. They were concerned that the whole thing would crack, and covered it with a canvas tarp. And much later that evening, the head monk went to see what kind of damage had been done to this massive Buddha statue. And this statue was a clay statue, but it was very treasured by everybody. So he checked, and he'd shown some flashlights through the cracks and saw that it was shining out back at him was gold. And he started chipping away at the clay and found, face to face with a solid gold Buddha. So that's how historians believe that several hundred years earlier, the Burmese army was about to invade Thailand. It was then called Siam, and that's why they covered the statue with clay. But what's interesting to me, and this is the monks believe, is that this solid gold statue was covered with clay to protect it, in difficult times, much in the same way that we cover over our own innate purity with our defenses, our coverings, because we are moving through difficult times, whether it's a difficult culture or family or whatever it is. And that what's sad, that we get identified with the coverings. It's like we take ourselves to be the egoic coverings, the defenses and the aggressions and the habit patterns that we've created to try to protect ourselves, and we forget the gold. We forget the light of awareness. It's like we're sitting here and we're thinking of ourselves as an egoic self that has a plan to do this and is worried about what this person thinks and so on, and we forget the consciousness, the awareness that's looking through these eyes and that's listening right now. So when we are locked into, in some way, judging, blaming, angry at another person, we're reacting from our covering, and we're reacting to their covering, and we're forgetting the gold. So I'd like to close by just doing a brief meditation and invite you to practice it when you have more time on your own. So closing your eyes, letting your attention go inward, and just take a few full breaths to collect and gather yourself. Bringing to mind some relationship where you feel that you have hardened your heart, armored against someone. A relationship that you'd like to, that you have some willingness to explore right now, to awaken a quality of forgiveness. This is, and I wouldn't pick some place where you feel like there's been traumatic violation. Won't serve you in a brief exercise, but somewhere where you're holding resentment, anger, blame. Let the situation with this person be close enough in that you can sense what's triggered you. And the rain of forgiveness begins by recognizing whatever is triggered. So it may be a sense of anger, could be rage, could be that you're seeing the judgments moving around, feeling of unsafety. Begin by just recognizing whatever's predominant. Judging, anger, hurt, blame. And just allow it to be there for now. This is a way of pausing and making room for your own response. Recognizing and allowing what comes up in you. And then we deepen rain. This is the U-turn. You're not paying attention to the person now. You're paying attention to your own heart by investigating what you're experiencing. So if it's anger, to let yourself feel it in your body. Feel it, the pressure, the heat of it. You might sense what you're believing. Perhaps you're believing that this person couldn't love or respect you. Maybe you're believing that you're unlovable. Maybe you're believing that you're in danger. But let the feelings that come up around the belief be felt. If you let the anger be all that it is, you might sense what else is underneath it. Is there hurt? Is there fear? The eye of rain, investigate, is really an inquiry as to what's really here inside me. What most wants attention? What's the most difficult part of this that I have to feel? You might investigate by sensing if you're in touch with a place in you that feels hurt or afraid, what it most needs, how it wants you to be with it. So you're investigating the vulnerability underneath the blame, the hurt, the fear, the powerlessness, perhaps the feeling of unworthiness, whatever is underneath. That's the investigating. And as you sense into yourself what the vulnerability needs, you can begin the N of rain. You might put your hand on your heart as you do this and just offer what you sense is most needed to the vulnerable place inside you. And if it's hard to offer it to yourself, you might imagine some loving energy in the world, some being, some deity, some friend, their love helping to nourish this part of you, bringing kindness inside you. See if you can let it in. Be willing to let in some warmth and kindness. And there may be some words to offer to yourself that help. You might say, "It's okay, sweetheart," or "I'm sorry and I love you," or "I'm here and I'm not going away. I'm right here." The rain of forgiveness begins by bringing rain to our own vulnerability. And then, and this is where you have to just feel your own timing, from the place of feeling some nourishment in our own heart, we can begin to look through the eyes of compassion to bring rain to the other person, to recognize and allow whatever state they're in, whatever way they're being Doesn't mean we're going to allow them to behave or treat us a certain way, but we're in this moment recognizing, allowing, this is the reality of where this person is. And then we begin to investigate and sense past the covering to the vulnerability that the covering is trying to protect. What's going on for this person? How is their leg in a trap? Can we see another's insecurity and fear, disappointment, feelings of inadequacy? And as we investigate and begin to see the truth that this being too has a leg in a trap, that there's suffering there, there can be a more natural extension of forgiveness and kindness, that you too are suffering. May you find healing. May you find peace. And if it feels natural to offer a message of forgiveness, I see and feel the pain you've caused me and I forgive you now. Or it's my intention to forgive you. Then please feel free. We end the rain of forgiveness by coming right into the moment and just sensing our own being right here. You might sense whatever shifts have occurred in your heart that allow you to be less of the judge or less of the one who's blaming and more resting in a more open or tender space. And just notice that. Notice who you are when there's some movement in the direction of forgiving. This is the evolution of consciousness, the awakening of the heart. Rumi puts it this way: out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Namaste, and thank you for your attention. One of